Okay.
And speeding.
Sound speed.
Adjoa's interview. Brown Girls Grieve Differently, take 2. Adjoa, what is it that you do currently?
Struggle. Sorry. I go to school at SCAD in Atlanta, and I'm a film and television major with a minor in music composition and a minor in acting. There it is. Yeah.
Nice. For sure. Okay, nice. Well, you mentioned being a student and also being in all these different places and all of these different spaces that you're in. While being in Atlanta and being a student and like meeting some of the people that you've met here, would you say that there was some sort of loss that you did experience, especially as a Black woman attending SCAD?
Yes, in a sense, because I'm a transfer. So this is my second quarter at SCAD. And I used to go to another college in South Carolina, and I wrestled there and got like a wrestling scholarship and did that for 2 years. And then they didn't have my major, so I had to transfer. But I already like established my friend group and all of that, and they're still there, and I still have them. But it's just being here is, and especially not coming in with a built-in friend group as a team, because wrestling, and just kind of having to figure it out by myself, it's kind of like lonely in a sense, because like I don't like going home at the end of the day, because I'm like, it's just me. And like I have my roommate, but I don't really talk to her that much. I know she's great. I love that woman. It's my favorite white woman. But she, I don't really talk to her that much. And I don't know. It's kind of hard to like having all of the resources of like friends and like being able to just see them all the time. It's kind of harder to do that, and also adjust to actually just making friends like a normal person. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah.
And like it's it can get a little tricky putting labels on everything. Well, this is happening because you're this or you're that. Well, do you think that because of your skin and because of your ethnicity that people have preconceived notions about you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was talking about this like the other day with one of my friends, and I was like, even before coming to the States, because I moved here when I was 12, I was like taught to be less intense in a sense. And I'm like the calmest person I know, but still like in the back of my head it's always like, not necessarily don't get too excited, but don't be too rough with like, or don't get too angry or something like that. Because it's like, even if I don't, and even if people who aren't Black necessarily like have known me for a while, it's still something like I still have to tell myself, because what if they assume that I'm angry and it leads to something else, or it's just always in the back of my head to like be smaller. I don't know. And then I'm bigger than like I'm 5'7". That's not like that much, but most people I've met are like like women specifically, and most people I hang out with are women. So I've always been, even when I was little, been told to like be less aggressive, or just don't don't get angry. Don't like, only emotion you can really show is like control, confidence, and make sure you have everything like put together, or even if you don't, at least make it seem like you do, kind of thing. Yeah.
For sure. Do you think that, so you said like you've been taught to not be so aggressive.
Yeah.
And not to get, mad or express that basically. Do you think that that has impacted you when it is time to get upset?
Oh yeah. I don't know how to act mad like in my acting classes. I actually don't, because I don't physically get upset. Like, well, I'll cry and stuff like that, and I have all the other emotion, but when it comes to like anger, I don't express it. And it's just one of those things, like, even if I'm like angry, you won't see it in person. And I'll be in my head about it, but I won't actually like react outward. So this came up like last week when I had to actually like improv, and I was mad. I was supposed to be mad, and I can't. I don't know. It's weird. I can't do it.
Absolutely. So you mentioned like being able to feel like one of the experiences of crying and everything. So when was the last time you actually cried?
Day for yesterday? Wait, which one was Valentine's? The 14th, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did it yesterday, yeah. Yeah, just went through a breakup in December, and it's the first Valentine's that I haven't, been with them, so it was a little rough, just a little bit,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Would you categorize that loss as grief?
No, because I wouldn't say that, well, it's tricky because I wouldn't necessarily say that it's grief in the sense of like we're non-contact, so I do still get to I don't talk to them and I can't, so there's that aspect of it, but I still know if I wanted to, I could.
Okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily categorize that as grief. However, the idea of the relationship and how much I loved being loved, I don't have that anymore, and it sucks. Yeah, a little bit. What?
I feel that. What does grief mean to you?
The absence of something. More like the absence of, I would say, if we're talking about a person, like just their presence and how they affect my life in general. And then if we're talking about like emotions, just the absence of love or like just anything when it comes to that. Mostly love though.
For sure. No, I understand. Like, well, have you grieved in public? And if so,
No.
why? No.
I don't cry in public. I try not to. It's just one of those things like I kind of like sometimes it happens because like you don't have a choice and it just kind of happens. But like I try my best not to, simply because I don't know. I don't like the whole thing of like trying to be perceived as put together when you're not, which is damaging. I know. It's just like autopilot. So I'll just kind of like take myself out of the situation.
I understand. So do you think that, being someone who is a part of the Black community, do you think that being Black has played a part in how you show grief?
I wouldn't. Okay, so given the fact that I don't necessarily like express my grief in public, that part of it, like actually like expressing that, I don't express it to my closest friends or anything. Like it's just me and Ebony, my therapist. And so when it's a situation where I don't necessarily have a choice, I think yes, because the way I express my feelings to her, my therapist, sorry, is not the same. It wouldn't be the same way I express my feelings to, like in public, or if like if someone asked me if I was okay, I would just say yes, I am, and just even though you can tell that I've been crying, it's just one of the things that I wouldn't necessarily want to get into unless it's pushed. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, we talk about like crying in public and being vulnerable. Well, do you feel shame in being vulnerable?
Yeah, a little bit. One, because I think mostly is because like, again, gotta be the best, not necessarily the best, but like the most in control of yourself, and like gotta be perceived as the most confident and all of that stuff. But when it does happen, and I can't necessarily control the situation or control my feelings in that situation, that's one of the reasons why I leave or take myself out of the situation if I can, because I don't like it. I don't like people seeing me upset. And most definitely, I don't like it when people want to help. I don't know. I've had this weird feeling of like it's not your responsibility, and it's with everybody. Like I don't want anyone to feel like they have to help me when I'm upset or like help me through a situation. If it's like something like that, it's just stop. And not necessarily anything to them. It's just me personally. It's just I feel like I'm a burden in a sense if someone wants to help. And so I will take myself out of the situation, or just not tell them, or change the subject or something like that.
For sure. Who was the first person who told you that it wasn't okay to be vulnerable?
Last relationship. Well, you said wasn't okay or was okay? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Who was the first person who told you that it wasn't okay to be angry or upset or cry in public?
It wasn't okay to be angry.
Like the first person who ever told you?
Oh, I wouldn't, not necessarily those specific words, but subtext. My dad. So my dad's white, my stepdad, and he's a great man. Love it. He's a cop though, so there's that. But so it was maybe like a month before we left to come to the States when I was 12, and he was just. I have little cousins and nephew and nieces, and one of the things that he would tell me is to not be as aggressive or understand that I'm stronger than most kids, so I should hold back and stuff like that, like physically. And then most recently was last, I want to say November maybe, and we were on the phone, and I remember we were having a conversation about like current events or something like that. And whenever I talk to him about that, I always get upset. And it's only with him, but I remember him saying that he's just worried that I would get that emotional with other people, and he wants me to be able to have a conversation without getting upset. And I had to tell him that I don't get upset in any other situation but with you like that, especially when we're talking about this conversation. But yeah, so I guess I answered the question.
Yeah, you did. You did. Well, because you talked a lot about not showing how you really feel in public when you are upset, and when you feel the need to show that upset. In general, when was the last time that you actually felt seen, and how did that make you feel?
My last relationship, for the most part, it was a year and a half. So it was the first time that I personally think that I was actually in love, and it felt like it was a two-person thing, and felt appreciated and also acknowledged, especially when it comes to my emotion, because I don't know, I could tell them everything, and it wasn't necessarily which I don't want to say brushing under the rug like my feelings are on the daily basis, which I don't really think they are, but because I don't talk to people about them and I just kind of keep it to myself until I get the guts to call my therapist, I would just I won't talk about it, and I would just kind of distract myself with, so it's never felt acknowledged. So when I did start talking to somebody, aka them, and they wanted to listen, it felt nice, and I don't know, appreciated, and also just felt like someone cared about me, and I cared about them a lot. So yeah.
What does that vulnerability, because that's a very vulnerable thing. So how would you define vulnerability, especially after being with your ex?
For me, for me, I don't really like being vulnerable with people. So if it's scary. It's very scary. And it's not even people are rude or mean whenever I am vulnerable. It's just that I always assume that they're going to not react the way I want them to, or not take whatever I'm saying the right way, or just not see me the way I want them to see me. And when it comes to the emotional part, me explaining something that happens, just not understand the situation. So it is scary to express myself, or at least be open with someone, especially about personal stuff with my family or just myself in general. So it's just terrifying. I don't like doing it.
For sure. Okay, well, being vulnerable is scary, and it can also be overwhelming. you know, in certain situations. So when you do feel overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
where do you go? What safe space do you go to, and how do you feel when you go there?
Right now, nowhere, because I don't have that. Um, okay, so after the whole relationship thing, it was just then I don't really like have, because I have friends, but I don't really talk to them and like tell them anything, except for my partner. And so when we broke up, it was didn't really have that many people to talk to, or if any. So for a while, I kind of just distracted myself with school for the most part, and hence why I don't like going home, like back to my dorm. And now I have like situationships, but that's more so a distraction for like than it is because I don't tell them anything, or yeah, I don't tell them anything at all. It's just having a friend that you fuck sometimes, one of those things, and I wouldn't say it's a safe space. It's just if I am overwhelmed and I need a distraction for like Valentine's and I need a distraction, I'll go there. Before that, no, there's nothing. Yeah.
So, you know, we were talking about safe spaces and being vulnerable, and you know how virtually currently there isn't one.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are alone in that space, how do you know, take care of yourself or make a decision to do self-care? What does self-care look like for you, and how do you do self-care?
It's distractions. Like if I don't think about it, I'll forget eventually. The ADHD is bad, so I'll forget the feeling, like how it feels to like feel that way until it comes back, and it will come back. It's like delaying the inevitable kind of thing, and then if I do it enough, it'll get piled up, and then I'll just explode, but not necessarily explode, just kind of like leak, if that makes sense. So I'll get really, like day before yesterday, I'll get really overwhelmed and I won't be able to keep it together that well until like until I go home. And so I like hold it until like and then I'll just cry, like a lot, and it hurts a lot. And then I'll forget again. And I'll like go to sleep and watch TV and try to forget or distract myself with like writing music or something like that. But it's never like, unless I like I said, call my therapist and actually like talk about it and address the whole, like all of it, I won't do anything with it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like, you know, we talked about how you do self-care. Like, is there any place that you find joy? And if so, where do you find joy?
I think mostly making music, film now, something that I've been getting really excited about, and especially like being on sets and like editing and stuff like that and seeing it all come together. That's been pretty chill. And then with music, composing, I love composing. I've been doing it for years now. Not professionally because I'm self-taught. And so I like doing that. And then I think that's pretty much it. So if I'm not able to do those two things, it's just, I'm just bored. And then I think about like stuff that will make me sad. But yeah, that's where I normally get my joy from.
For sure. So how would you define joy?
I don't know, like content.
Content.
Yeah. Because I want to say it's being excited all the time. It's just being content with where you are in life, or like being able to be comfortable around the people you surround yourself with and knowing that this is where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple of more questions for you. So you identify as non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
So how has it been being Black and non-binary and experiencing all of the emotions that you do?
Not that many people know I'm non-binary. Like my immediate friend group knows, and if someone asks, I will tell them. But I'm in an art school, so pretty chill, and the teachers have been pretty like actually pretty cool with it, as expected. My parents don't know, and they probably won't ever know. It's just one of those things. Like they know I'm gay, but they don't know. But but being black with it, I haven't really experienced that much pushback from that. I know there's like I know people have like way worse experience than I do, but when it comes to like being gay or honestly like being black a little bit, I've had the long end of the like stick pretty much for most of my life. And especially with being gay, my parents took it really well. I came out when I was 13. And then when I told my friends I was non-binary, they are also very okay with it, which is like, I guess it's me surrounding myself with people who care about me. And so when it comes to that, I'm pretty okay. If I'm in a situation where I know that people won't be okay with it, I just won't bring it up. And I'm rarely in that situation because I like my peace. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Do you feel like someone who identifies as non-binary, do you feel like you are able to express that safely outside of the art school?
Kinda. The way I dress is pretty, I wouldn't say androgynous in a sense. I don't really I'm comfortable. I like being comfortable, but I also have good taste. So it goes with that. And so it comes out in that way. But I will rarely actually have an identification on me that expresses that, oh, hey, date them or something like that. It's not anywhere on my Instagram or anything like that, any of my social media. It's just, if someone's close to me and they want to know, it's not something that I would really care. I wouldn't really be hesitant to tell them. But also, if someone ever asks for my pronouns, they more likely will be okay with my pronouns not being she, her, because most people who ask for pronouns, yeah. But yeah, so that's, yeah.
Absolutely. So, this is the last question that I do want to ask you. What would you say to someone who does look like you, who is non-binary, and is battling grief? What advice would you give to them to navigate and cope with their emotions?
Get a therapist and actually be consistent with your therapist and don't ghost them. It's, like I said, I have ADHD, so when it comes to the emotional part of it, I get overwhelmed really easily. I don't like loud noises, which is why I have those headphones all the time. And so having someone to talk to freely, even though they're not really a family or a friend and you're kind of paying them, it's still their job to listen to you and be able to help you. So it's kind of, for me specifically, it helps knowing that there's that barrier of professionalism, because they're doing their job. This is what they went to school for, and I'm a client or whatever. So it helps with that. And also it's, especially when you're neurodivergent, you should definitely have a therapist no matter what. But yeah, get a therapist. And if you're black, get a black therapist. If you're a woman, get a woman black therapist, because men are weird. So yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Well, just one more time for the camera, say your first and last name and what you do.
My name is Adjoa Farr, and I go to SCAD in Atlanta, Georgia. There it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries.